Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, class. We are doing a strategic analysis of Chipotle. My name is Brittany Atkins.
I'm Denver.
I'm Garasila.
And I'm Dominic Worthy.
Chipotle has a food with integrity mission where they choose to use natural products that don't have any artificial hormones or artificial ingredients. Their objective is to have a highly skilled team and use the highest quality natural products. Chipotle doesn't have very many international locations. They have 8 that are international, but the other of the 1,316 restaurants are in the United States. Okay, McDonald's invested in Chipotle, and because of their investment, they were able to open more than 500 restaurants. Without their contribution, then Chipotle may have not been able to branch out as much as they did. And they were able to, in order for them to increase their international sales, they should reduce costs and increase their revenue, so they're able to have more finances to open up more global businesses, more global locations.
So moving on to the financial overview of Chipotle. And as you can see, this is the income. It's coming from the income statement, and this is the revenue. These are the total expenses and net income for Chipotle for 2009, 2010, 2011. The trend which you can see over there is that they are increasing revenues, but at the same time, there is a problem in the costs which are increasing over the 3 years. And these costs are mainly driven by the food, beverage, and packaging costs, which are high in terms of the sustainable sourcing model in which they're trying to get food which is naturally raised. The cost over the course of 3 years, from 2009 to 2010, it rose by a staggering 58.51%, from 466 million to 737 million. These high input costs are a major threat to CMG margins, as prices will prove more difficult to pass on to consumers in the form of high prices because of stiff competition, as you hear from Dominic, from competitors like Cordova and other competitors, and Taco Bell. There's also a shortage of organic inputs. This was caused by a slowdown in the conversion to organic farming as a result of the economic slowdown. And also, there is also competition for organic inputs from firms like Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, who are competing for the same inputs which Chipotle has. This drives the price of up because of the laws of demand, and that leads to increased costs for CMG. The effect of that is high prices, which cannot be or are difficult to pass on to consumers due to increased competition. For example, it may lead to a burrito costing from somewhere from $17 or $18, as alluded to by the case. The business level strategy for Chipotle is definitely a differentiation strategy. They want to distinguish the products which they issue to their consumers in the form of unique, naturally raised inputs, and also they charge higher prices as a price premium which the consumers are supposed to pay for their particular product. For example, in New York, for the same restaurant, they charge for a burrito with chicken, it costs $5.99, and CMG costs $9.88, which is almost double the price. And it's also shown by the Anon effect. These competitive threats of higher prices by CMG and lower prices by Taco Bell's Cantina Bill, they are a threat to CMG's business model. Possible solutions to CMG, to the problem of higher input costs, probably vertical integration, and going in the form of backward integration, buying those suppliers of inputs. That way they can have control on their own destiny in terms of the cost. In addition, they can make use of futures contracts in order to lock in prices whenever they are low, so that they can buy as much inputs as they can on a future contract. That way, they will lock in low prices. And that's it for me. I'll pass it on to my colleagues.
Chipotle tangible resources include the 1,316 stores they are operating around the world. But more than 90% of the stores are located in the United States, 4 in Canada, 3 in the UK, and 1 in French. In addition, the tangible resources of Chipotle also include the equipment and the property they are using in their everyday operation. These intangible resources are the brand is marketing to its consumer as being a fast casual restaurant that offer food that come from sustainable sources. Corporate level strategy. Chipotle is considered to be a low-level diversified firm because more than 90% of its revenue come from a fast restaurant chain. By looking at that, we can analyze that there is a need for Chipotle to start diversifying firm because it has been over relying on this single business that derives revenue from. When I was reading the case, I realized that Chipotle own and operate all of the stores, including both in the United States and both overseas. With the rising cost of commodity and organic food, the cost of goods sold for Chipotle has been increasing drastically. In order to have enough resources to maintain its operation, Chipotle should start franchising the restaurant. The franchising fee that will collect from this franchisee will be able to cover most of the expenses incurring. And also in the international standpoint, Chipotle is engaging in a market where there is not enough knowledge about Mexican food. For example, in UK and French, they don't have much understanding about the Mexican cuisine. So in order to raise the awareness, Chipotle should begin a vast marketing campaign to raise the awareness for its product. So then I will pass to Dominic.
All right, I'm going to talk about the capabilities of CMG. What was I doing, capabilities? The ownership of 22 independently operated distribution centers that provide inputs to Pacific restaurants. CMG, they make, and they produce, and they have their hand heavily up on the inputs in their restaurant. They're very critical about the products that come into the restaurant. They only use naturally grown ingredients, naturally raised meats in their products. Competitive analysis. CMG greatest competition is emanating from Taco Bell and Cantina Bell and Qdoba. The Cantina Bell is selling similar products that CMG is selling for almost half the price. So for instance, in New York City, the Cantina Bell charges close to $6 for a steak burrito, in which CMG charges close to $11 for just about the exact same item. Thus, Taco Bell is operating on a cost leadership strategy, competing with Chipotle and casual dining restaurants such as Chipotle. And Taco Bell also has close to 5,700 outlets in the United States, which will to infiltrate CMG's clientele. Chipotle also competes with firms inside and outside its market segment, which like firms like McDonald's, which they have a burrito available breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Burger King have burritos breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, and those are cheaper alternatives compared to Chipotle, which is more of a high-end casual dining restaurant. First mover. CMG is definitely considered a first mover in the casual dining restaurant segment. The founder, Stephen Ailes, introduced open kitchen and food assembly lines for his restaurants, and he believed in, like the motto says, food with integrity. He believed in food with integrity means that he designed Chipotle to have natural ingredients, like I said earlier, to have ingredients grown naturally, no fertilizers, no unnatural anything in their food. All the meat is grown naturally also. And they were the first to do that. Fast cycle. This fast cycle casual dining restaurant is most fast casual restaurants in this segment are fast cycle. The services are easily imitated, and 2 minutes. The services and products are easily imitated. It's like I alluded to earlier. McDonald's, Burger King are all competing in the same segment.
So we'll leave this time.
And also the genetic strategy used by Chipotle is a differentiation, because it's the only one who are offering products made by organic food.
Right. So we'll leave any time for questions, additions, subtractions.
Any questions?
And we have recommendations and solutions also, if you want us to give you that. One of my recommendations, I said that Chipotle, CMG should make a drive-through to make their food even more accessible and convenient. Whereas customers can drive through the drive-through, and it's more so for customers that has previous experience at Chipotle and know what they have and know the items that are within already. Yeah, explain one.
Got any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Dominique, one of the main problems that
One.
My name is Travis McClain.
And my name is Dorothy Myers. We're doing a case
Yeah,
analysis on Chipotle Mexican Grill.
our group name is Two Amigos, One Taco.
The mission statement is food integrity. Is our commitment to finding the very best ingredients, raised with respect from the animals, the environment, and the farmers.
Yeah, we're gonna skip straight to them.
Statement of objectives.
Yeah.
They are big believers, and they want to serve great food.
Yes, the business, the corporate business strategies are, to change the way people think about eating fast food and being committed to serving food made ingredients. Yeah, the environment, Chipotle competes within the market. Oh, I wrote this one, I got this one. Yeah, Chipotle has to compete against household names, households and other competitors such as your moms. You know, some people rather than go spend money at a restaurant, they will go home and eat better versus. And then also too, you have other competitors such as Taco Bell and other leading players in the quick service market. CMG operates, the value chain. CMG operates out of the fast casual segment, which is one of 3 of the largest segments. CMG focus on fresh, healthy ingredients and customized made dishes. And when it comes to pricing, CMG charges between $7 and $10, which makes them cheaper than a full restaurant, but more expensive than a fast service in the fast service segment. The Townsville CMG has about 22 distribution centers. They have, in 2010, they had about 1,080 restaurants. They had 2 in each country overseas, within London. I think it was London. And Brazil, I think they had like 2. And it was like 2 in each continent. For the business level strategy, they have to, they want to be different and they want to stick out, so that's a good thing. The people are different people. When it comes to diversity, they are low level diversity. They need to try to make their way to be more diversity because they don't have one way of food. All right, competing CMG is one of the greatest competitors in emerging Taco Bell. Also, New York City Shallow Bell change $5.99 for a steak burrito, which is a little bit cheaper than CMG. They charge almost like $12 or $10. Sometimes if you get extra meat or something, it's like $15 and recently been there. CMG is a late mover. They will not be a first or second mover. Taco Bell would be one of the companies that was the first mover. The core competencies will be CMG includes sourcing programs, which brings organic raised vegetables and meats. And a problem that I've seen that me and my colleague read in the case where the fact that the prices are going up, the prices of how they're trying to get their goods and fresh foods. They want to invest in more in local farms, but it's kind of hard because it's more organic. They choose to use the raising of pigs different from the competitors. I think they use antibiotics or whatever the word is, but that's what makes it a high thing. That's in our presentation.
Any questions? All right.
Good afternoon, class. My name is Morgan Roberts. I am LaSharay D. Berry,
I'm Evan Jones.
My name is James Young.
and we will be doing a case analysis on Chipotle.
Chipotle has received a natural large growth within the past 7 years compared to other S&P 500 companies that serve in the fast food industry. They have received major growth. They're one of the leaders in overall growth in the past food sector compared to companies like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and other KFC products like Yum Brands.
Chipotle's mission statement is food with integrity. They want to serve good quality ingredients and food products sourced with sustainable farming practices. The corporate business structure is basically that Chipotle is a single business following a market penetration and a market development strategy. The diversification is low because 95% of its revenues are generated from CMG itself.
Some of the opportunities that Chipotle might possess: expansion in untapped regions and countries, new items on their menu. They haven't changed they haven't changed their menu in a while. Threats: intense competition from other players, and economic stability. Some of the strengths may be they've just recently added online ordering and delivering. They have a positive brand. The weakness, high price menu, because the generic strategy is focus, differentiation.
Some of the financial ratios over the past 3 years that provide information that the case gave us. They received a return in total assets about 25% for 2010, a decrease in 2011. Operating income has been about 13% for 2009, and 2010, 2011 has been a return on their investments for 15%. Liquidity ratios for 2009 and 2010, they have received a 3.72% for 2009 and 2010, 3.8.6.
You gonna tell us what some of that stuff means?
Well, current ratio is the ability to have a certain amount of leverage when it comes to certain debt. How fast can they pay off their vendors, or how much return they receive on their assets. Quick ratio is how fast can they be able to turn a profit.
How does that compare to the industry average?
They have that same in our case, the industry average as far as other competitors. Here's their debit to asset. This debit to asset illustrates their how much debt do they have compared to their assets. So this allows Chipotle to go to banks or other type of institutions. They say, this is compared to our assets, we are allowed to pay off or
So debt to assets is not a ratio.
It's more like a percentage.
It's a percentage.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chipotle value chain analysis. Like we said before, they use the generic strategy of a focused differentiation. Not only do they differentiate themselves from the competitors in the food industry, but they spend more time on specifically being different from others by choosing the organic crops or directly themselves growing organic livestock.
Along with what my colleague was saying, they focus on their animals, their people, and their environment. Chipotle had its own 22 owned and operated distributors to help along with their company, because they do focus on naturally raised animals with none of that
Extra steroids and
yeah.
And as I stated earlier, Chipotle has managed to internationally travel to different countries without changing a single thing on their menu. Some of their tangible resources are the distribution centers across America. Intangible resources would be their leaders, great employees, customer service, anything of that nature.
The business double strategy. Chipotle believes that the cost of using organic ingredients is higher. Consumers are willing to pay extra for the cost of healthier food. Basically consumers that don't want to necessarily buy from Taco Bell because of how they serve their food based off of the ingredients versus Chipotle serving healthier choices.
Chipotle has received a large boom from millennials. This ranges from people around the age of 30 and below. The way that they have made a significant growth within millennials is that millennials now, they're more focused on health conscious. This goes along with their business strategy. So they're more willing to pay for higher quality food, but they also feel it's more authentic compared to other companies like McDonald's trying to advertise healthy options. Because people know from McDonald's reputation, they have a reputation of being high fat, saturated fats, cause many health problems.
And which create Chipotle's differentiation strategy. Not only are they producing foods with other competitors as McDonald's and Taco Bell or Quavo, but they want to differentiate themselves from their competitors by offering organic food. As far as mergers and acquisitions, Chipotle entered a partnership with a company to install wind turbines and solar panels in the majority of the restaurants to cut down on energy consumption. They also have a low level of diversification, which means that between 70% and 90% of their revenue are generated from their dominant business.
One of the major problems that Chipotle has, that I stated earlier, was the time. For an average customer around lunchtime or around the dinner time, they always have a large time from going into the store to having to pay for your food. One of the suggestions that we came up with was to also use the capabilities of their online marketing or online ordering is by developing an app. This cuts down on cost time. Say if I'm going home from school or from work, I can pick up, place my order at work, and by the time I get to the designated Chipotle I want to purchase at, I can pay for it, get back in and out. This will allow Chipotle to create more customers coming in and out. Some of the benefits that it has over drive-through is that more customers you're able to have, more services you're able to generate. More sales you could generate because they're on cost. You also target your millennials generation that you've been advertising to. This allows them to even come back even more than other competitors.
Another problem was their cost was increasing year after year due to the outsourcing for higher qualities and higher raw materials. So a solution to that would be not only they already implemented several programs to support farmers, but make it a little more about the farmers, some type of implementation of a program for the farmers in which they reach out to as their suppliers to, where they segregate them away from other farmers as well. And possible future will possibly cut some of those fees off from the suppliers. That's it. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, class. We're doing this case analysis on Glencore and Strata. My name is Brittany Atkins.
I'm Dan.
I'm Dominique Gordon.
I'm Josh.
We're going to start with the mission statement. The mission of Glencore is to be the leading integrated producer and distributor of commodity goods. They engage globally in marketing materials and minerals, and energy and agriculture products. They also process, store, and transport products to other locations. Okay, the mergers, acquisitions, and takeovers. Glencore merged with Estrada, and Glencore was successful with marketing, while Estrada was successful with the operation of the company. The shareholders of the company felt as though the merger benefited both companies. However, it didn't benefit the shareholders. The company made a public offering so they could gain more funds to support the business. However, when they did the public offering, it decreased the share price instantly. But with two companies coming together, they were able to increase their core competencies and their capabilities and make the company more profitable. Because of procurement and getting rid of unneeded personnel and unneeded processes, they were able to decrease their expenses. And as the companies merged, they were able to, Mick Davis became the CEO, and Glassenberg became deputy CEO and president. Okay, the international strategy. Mark Rich is one of the key people in the international strategy of Glencore Extractive because he was able to buy, he had people in the Middle East who could get oil from at a cheaper price than what it was because the price of oil was 4 times more than what it originally was. So he was able to get it for a discounted price and sell it to people in Western countries, and he was able to make a profit because of the difference in the price. Okay. The corporate governance. The company wants to make the people who are in charge of the company, such as the board of directors who makes the decisions for the company, the board of committees, and the investors are the ones who take the investors are the ones who give the money to help support the company. And they want to make sure that the values of the company are upheld throughout the course of business.
And we'll move on to the financial analysis and financial overview. Glencore's revenue is generally on an upward trend in the fiscal period between 2007 to 2011. In 2007, the revenue was in the range of 142 billion, and in the fiscal year 2011, the revenue was 186 billion. Although they might seem as good performance for a company of Glencore's stature, there are the alarming figures in the total expensive figures, which are exorbitantly high, therefore pushing the profit margins down. For example, the profit margin ratio for 2007 was 4.3%, and it slid all the way down to 2.17% in 2011, as reflected by the financial data provided in the case. And comparing that to Xstrata, in the fiscal year 2011, Xstrata grossed revenues of 33 billion in revenue and a net income of 5 billion in the same fiscal year, which Glencore grossed 186 billion and a net income of 5 billion. Although such high revenues